All right. All right. Hello, everybody. It's the Meista from Brews and Tunes. Cheers. I am really, really excited today. I'm chatting with bassist Tom Lorenzo of the legendary Blood Feast. Thank you so much for chatting with me today.
Legendary. Cool. Thanks, bro.
Yeah, definitely.
I guess it's been around long enough. The Blood Feast, what, started in 85, I think.
Yeah. So, yeah, thanks again.
It's not beer, but it's, it's wet.
Good.
I actually saw Blood Feast back in 1986 with Possessed headlining and At War.
Oh, shit.
Who actually turns into be good buddies of mine. And it's funny that night because, so 1986, I think I was at least 20 because my birthday's later in the year. So I was 21 in 1986. So I was like, I think it was in the winter, or but they played at L'Amour in Brooklyn, if you ever heard of that, the famous L'Amour.
Yeah, famous L'Amour, yeah.
And the thing was, I didn't have a car back then, of course. And it was funny because I wanted to go see Possessed so bad because I had just gotten the Seven Churches cassette.
Yeah.
And I was going to go, and none of my friends wanted to go. I was like, oh, fuck you guys. And I can I curse?
Oh, yeah, please.
Oh, yeah, we got beers going on. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So in order for me to get to Brooklyn from Staten Island, I got to take a cab into Brooklyn and then take a train to where L'Amour is. And it takes a good hour and a half because, like I said, back then, the 80s, that kind of thing. Anyway, and I bought a 12-pack of beer, and I'm drinking, and I meet this guy, and I'm doing this, and we're drinking that, and we're doing these things. And by the time I got into L'Amour, I'm wasted, as a 20-year-old would be. And I saw Blood Feast, and I remember they came on. I said, oh, yeah, I heard about these guys. They're like the new brass band, And I saw them, and they were good. They were like borderline kind of death metal, too.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, good band, And then along the way, L'Amour, drinking, stuff, At that point, I'm legal to drink. Still, because it was like 1985. So I think the drinking age was still, I think they moved it from 18 to 19.
Oh, okay.
At that point back then. And then from 19 to 21. I didn't grandfather in to the 21 until like 3 or 4 months later. That's another story. Anyway, so I got so wasted, I passed out at the table in the back. Now, I knew people at L'Amour. My best friend's brother, who's like my older brother, he ran the stage at L'Amour. I had all friends there, but I passed out.
Oh, no.
And that was the same night Slayer had come down and they played a couple of songs off the Hell Awaits record.
Oh, shit.
And I'm like, man, I fucking missed that. Oh, God. I was like, what an idiot. Like that. And then kicking the tail, get out. So now it's 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm standing at the doorway at L'Amour going, how am I going to get home? It's 4 o'clock in the morning. I got to get back to Staten Island from Brooklyn. There's a bridge between us. There's water between us.
You're right.
So I'm at the door. All of a sudden, I see a friend of mine getting into a white van. I'm like looking. I go, it's my friend Howie. I go, Howie, please, please, Howie. He turns around. He goes, Lorenzo, get over here. I run over to the van. I jump in the van. Who's in the van? The guys from At War and Jeff Becerra from Possessed.
Oh, shit. Wow.
So I'm like, all right, well, my night got all fucked up, but my weekend just became infinitely better.
Yeah.
So now, like, hanging out with the guys from At War, who I became good friends with. And this is Dave Stone, Paul Arnold, and Sean Helsel. And then and Jeff from Possessed. And this is a Friday night show. So we spent the whole weekend at my friend Howie's house on Staten Island.
Wow.
To hang out with him. Yeah. Because from Howie's house, it was only a short bus ride for me. So it was good that I got back to Staten Island,
That's cool. That's a great
story. That's a cool story because I got to meet those guys and became good friends. So,
Wow, that is awesome.
But, and I got to meet Jeff. And even though I missed Possessed and I missed, the rest of the show and all the Slayer thing and stuff, because, Adam still talks about that because, they played that night, obviously.
Right.
But, that was kind of a cool but sucky thing. It sucked because I missed the show, but I got to meet those guys and became friends with those guys and still good buddies with them till this day.
Nice. That's really cool. Yeah, because probably if you had been sober or, not as drunk, and you would have left after the show was over and not had that chance.
Exactly. So Brews and Tunes, you have to be proud of me. At least I got my drinking on that night.
Yeah, there you go. Right on, brother. That's great.
I didn't get killed, So.
So you guys got some pretty exciting news going on right now. A lot happening with the band currently. A lot of cool stuff lined up.
Yeah, well, I mean, the short order, like we discussed before the show went on. Chris, we have Chris out of the band for a few months now, and Adam is actually taking over the lead vocals of the band. And I'm not going to get too deep into it. But Adam writes all the songs, and just that's the way he wanted it to go. He just wanted to he wanted to be the singer, and I guess just the way he wanted things to go, and maybe they weren't happening the way he wanted them to.
Gotcha.
You'd have to pick his brain on it, obviously. So,
right.
Anyway, so Adam, and Adam's always working, man. He's always got something going on, and he's the brainchild of the band, and he's always going to be the boss. So there's no real discussion or fighting with him about certain things. When he makes a decision, the decision is final. And Adam's a good guy, and he's a talented guy, and he's a businessman on top of everything else, so he knows what he wants and he knows what's good. And like I said, I'm lucky to be part of this machine called Blood Feast for the last 10 years now, 11 years. But I've been playing with him since 2002, so he's the longest musical partner I've had in my life. So, but he got Gary Markovich back for at least the next 2 shows.
Nice.
And the next show is the Maryland Death Fest, which is huge. And to go on a side note with that, Paul Arnold we've been trying to get on that thing for the last, 8-10 years or something, since Blood Feast reformed in this, in this lineup. And At War got the slot. And Paul has told me the story that he came home one night from rehearsal and, and I think they weren't completely solid on if they were playing the Maryland Death Fest. Now you remember, this is for 2020.
Oh, okay.
Remember that, because the pandemic screwed everything up. And he said that he sent a message to the guy. He said, "All right, what's going on? Are we on this festival?" And they said, "Yeah, you guys are on." And he goes, "What about Blood Feast?" Because they know we were knocking on the door, and I've been talking to people that, I know this guy from the Maryland Death Fest and stuff. And I know people that I said, tell him Blood Feast wants to play. One guy was I talked to, he says, "You got to get a press kit together." I said, "Press kit? What, like a 1992 press kit with a black and white picture and a CD?" I said, "Tell him Blood Feast wants to play." Because what I understand is to get on the Maryland Death Fest, you have to be invited.
Okay.
Anyway, back to Paul. Paul says, and then the guy from, I don't know who he talked to, the guy's name, he goes, "Send us the information." Adam got in touch. We're on the Maryland Death Fest. So now we're on the same stage as At War, and we've been doing things with them over the years anyway. So, it's a perfect kind of package, At War and Blood Feast together.
That's really exciting.
Yeah, that's a really good package. Plus, we're good buddies with the guys and all that stuff. So now we get the Maryland Death Fest. And I know Adam has kind of been bothering Gary to kind of come back. And Gary actually was doing some stuff. He's in a cover band. He's just doing shit. Local, like New York City. Not even New York City, New Jersey. Local New Jersey area. Like I said, he actually probably lives closer to me than he does to the studio where we rehearse.
Oh, okay.
And I see him, on Facebook, and I met him, and I remember seeing him at the studio a few times. We ran into each other. But Adam finally clipped him. We got him, and now we got him in yesterday, and he was going through the songs. We still got some work to do. All of us got to get some work together. But yeah, it looks like we're ready to go.
That's very exciting news.
Yeah. So at least the next 2 shows. So the Maryland Death Fest, and then we have a show in June with our good friend Ed Farsity, who does the bookings around the New York, New Jersey area. He has his Rage of Armageddon Fest. And this is number 6. And we played all his Rage of Armageddon Fest. This year, we have Heretic from California is coming in. And
cool.
Yeah. A couple bands like that. I have to look at the list. All day looking at Facebook, my eyes get blurry.
I hear you.
But so Gary's back in for the duration for now. So
that's really exciting news. And for people that don't know, Gary, of course, is the original singer.
The original singer, yeah.
With all that early Killer stuff, and he hasn't. I mean, I guess there was a reunion. What in 1990 something?
1999, and you know what? I was at that show too. It was in Asbury Park, New Jersey. Yeah, dude, I don't miss a step. I'm a guy. I'm in the business. I was up until the beginning of the pandemic, I was in charge of Metallica's tour merchandise. I work for their merchandise company.
Oh, cool.
So, I do stuff. I'm around. I'm doing staging work now because that's all that's left right now. But I'm on the business. I was at the Ghost Volbeat show the other night at the Prudential Center in Newark because my friend is in charge of Ghost merchandise.
Cool.
And he works for that company. So, but I'm in the business. I'm all over the place. But the band thing. Yeah, we just in the middle of October we flew out to San Diego and played this metal swap meet. But that was when Adam, it was just a 4-piece. Adam was singing. And these guys, they're connected to a place called the Red Dragon Bar in Tijuana, Mexico, which is right there. Turns out we're playing the Red Dragon Fest in November in Tijuana. Oh, so we're going down to that too. I think Gary might be on that show as well. So
nice. Yeah,
I guess,
cool.
I don't know. Right now we're kind of just moving forward and getting things rolling. But we were all psyched yesterday in the studio. So, we were like, all right, man, it sounds great. We're like, yeah, it was like,
now,
so we're digging.
You mentioned studios. Let me ask you now, is this rehearsal or are we talking?
Rehearsal, yeah, we have the rehearsal, but it's also our recording studio because CJ has the setup. And actually, he was just remarking yesterday, like he's been in this one particular studio, which is in Watchung, New Jersey, which is like about 30 miles from me. Okay. Off Route 78. Interstate 78. So I jump on the highway, I get on the New Jersey Turnpike, and then I get on I-78. It's about a 35-minute drive for me from Staten Island. And this place has been there. The building is from like the 1840s or something, and it's been there for years. But it's Earthquake Studios. But we have a room in the studio. It's called he called it Chateau Bow Wow Studios, Doghouse Studios. So.
Nice.
But he does other recording and stuff, and he's worked with people like Ross the Boss and
okay, cool.
Yeah. Who else? A couple other, he's worked with some people, over the years and stuff. I can't think of any. I can't drop any more names in that right now. But yeah, that's our rehearsal space.
Cool. Now
the record, he has the recording facilities too, which is great. Cool.
Speaking of recording, are you guys working on any new material right now? I know Adam's always writing, right?
We have a new album pretty much in the can.
Right on.
Yeah, there's music done. I did all my bass tracks. I hope they like what I did, and I guess I'm not gonna have to go back and redo them. I don't know yet. So, but sure we do amazing. Have, and I think Adam is gonna do the vocals on that because we were working on that record for well over a year now, maybe a little longer. So, but the pandemic and everything got all weird and stuff. We have a new record, and like I said, I put my bass tracks down. I don't know if they're gonna change them, or if they want me to redo more of them, or whatever. But right now, it's just kind of like we're still kind of like in limbo. Still, Right. I mean, we have a title, but I don't even know if that's. I don't want to put the title out right now because I don't even know if it's things are getting changed and.
Right.
But yes, we have music. We have we have 9 songs worth. So
excellent. That's really exciting because I mean, this beast I love, but it's so short. It's like I always want more. I'm like, this is what a great EP.
But that's 4 old songs re-recorded. So you have 2 off the first off the two songs off of Kill for Pleasure and 2 songs off of Chopping Block Blues. But the weird thing is that Chopping Block Blues and Kill for Pleasure were both released by a company called New Renaissance Records, which is was a label out of Los Angeles. And the second one, Chopping Block Blues, Adam wrote songs on that album, but that release with them holding their heads.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the artwork on the front is like the body, and they're holding their head. That's only 4 of them because Adam didn't play on that record.
Oh wow, I didn't know that. I guess I forgot about that.
Yeah, I kind of look at it that as not part of our timeline, but now it kind of is because Gary's back in the band, So, yeah. But back, it's weird. Yeah, weird shit goes with bands and stuff. But there was a recording that Adam had on a cassette. He calls it's the original recording which he played on, and we got a German label to repress it. what's the name of the label? Hellion Records. I think it's Hellion Records. And that guy has something to do with the Headbangers Open Air that we played, the festival in Germany. We played like 3 times.
Okay.
And yeah, so we called it Offerings Before the Chopping Block.
Nice.
And it's like I said, it's the original recording of the Chopping Block Blues record, but with Adam playing guitar on it. So it's weird because, you know, that's like whole kind of crazy band stuff that happens, you know.
Yeah.
Because then there's like, you know, compilation records, and there's a couple of you know, whatever, like greatest hits kind of thing, you know. There's a version of like Black Diamond by Kiss with actually Lenny Kravitz doing backup vocals on it.
Really?
Because back then, in like 1989 or whatever, was Lenny Kravitz was in the studio, you know.
Really?
Lenny Kravitz like my age, you know, he's like 55, 56. So, you know, he was in the studio to sing. This is before he got big. You know, it's way before he got, you know, before he got famous. And I think they recorded a version of Black Diamond. So Kevin, the original drummer, has that kind of, you know, record. It's called The Last Remains or something like that. So, you know, there's a couple little, you know, things that were thrown together. He like his own little record label, I guess he set up. But we had him in the band years ago, but then, you know, just things just change. So, you know, how these things go. But yeah.
That's exciting that you guys are you got an album in the can and ready to go, or almost ready to go. That's really exciting. And I think am I not mistaken, isn't Kill for Pleasure, it's like the 35th anniversary this week, right? Today. Oh, holy shit. Wow. Well, that's fortuitous.
Yeah,
we're talking.
Yeah. And actually, I think it was actually released 1987, Friday the 13th.
Oh, wow. That's so cool.
I'm pretty sure it was Friday the 13th. Yeah, because we talk about it. You know, I mean, me and Adam talk all the time, obviously, you know, which is more than band members, you know, we're friends, you know, we talk all the time. We're like brothers. But yeah, today is the 35th anniversary of the Kill for Pleasure album. And it's funny because it was released on Friday the 13th, as far as I know. You know, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know, but it sounds cool at least, right? You know, it's good for the interview, right? Yeah.
I love it. That's great. Now you joined, as you mentioned a little bit ago. So you joined Blood Feast in what, like 2010? So you've been in almost 12 years. But you had mentioned that you had worked with Adam before, and of course you guys had a band together in the early 2000s.
Well, here comes the California connection. Like, I met a guy out in California when I was out there going to the school. He was 6 months in the school, or later than me. I went in 6 months earlier than friend Rob Pallotta, drummer, and he was from Jersey. So we became good friends out there, and now I know him, you know, more than 30 years.
Right.
And it's funny because I saw him in a show in like 2002. You know, we would see each other. He was playing with bands and stuff, but he was helping a friend out. And it's funny because the band he was helping was actually the band that I actually ended up being in. It was the beginning of that band was the band where Adam and Adam was the band I ended up being in.
Oh, okay.
Because Rob was working for these guys, and I was with my drummer from my band. I had a band called Tribe of Anger. I was played with the original Biohazard drummer.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's right. Okay.
Anthony Dio was the original, not Danny. I'm good friends with Danny, though. I know Danny very well, but the original drummer who didn't make it for some crazy reason.
Right.
But I met him in 95 or 96. So I was playing with him, and then my friend Rob was going, "Hey man," he goes, "you know, I'm working." He was working for Adam. Adam has a tree business, you know. So, and he goes, "I'm working for this guy. Remember that band Blood Feast back in the 80s?" I said, "Yeah, of course." He said, "Yeah, I'm working for the guitar player, and he's looking for a bass player." So this is back in 2002. And I said, "Really?" And I said, "Yeah, I remember those guys. I saw them at Lemoore, you know." And he goes, "Yeah, man." He goes, "You want to check it out?" I said, "Yeah, man, give him my number." So a day or two later, Adam calls me. We have a great conversation on the phone. And I went down maybe less than a week later. I think he mailed me a disc. And actually, it was titled Feasting on the Remains. Or I forget exactly what it was like. Because he had a band called Last Remains, and he had Blood Feast. So he took the two names and kind of put them together.
Nice.
And the song was called Without End, you know, that he had on there. It was like one or two songs on there. And, you know, I listened to it more than I played around with it. I figured, I'll do it at the studio when I meet them, you know, so. And I guess about a week or two later, I can't remember exactly when, back in July of 2002, we met up in New Jersey, you know, but like I said, about 30 miles from my house. Went to the studio to rehearse, and it was Adam, the drummer, and Adam, the guitar player, Adam Tranquilli, and then Adam, our drummer right now, Adam Killfor. And I hooked up with those guys. We jammed out for about a few hours, and I was kind of like, I didn't know the songs perfectly, but I knew the songs, so I listened to them. And I go, what about it, guys? He goes, yeah, man, this is great. Let's do this, you know? So we started jamming with each other. And with that end, started up in about 2002. And we pretty much went down the line. And I was still in Tribe of Anger, too. So I was in both bands.
Oh, okay.
But Tribe of Anger was becoming kind of more trouble than it was worth. And the reason he got thrown out of Biohazard to begin with, that stuff popped up, you know, while I was still playing. No. Oh, you know, it was just kind of like it. But we kept with that end going, and then Adam actually reformed Blood Feast in 2007 with the original drummer Kevin.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Kevin. What's Kevin's last name again? I can't remember. My God,
I can't remember it either.
Yeah. Anyway, so he actually did a few shows with that lineup. So it was Kevin and his band. Kevin had a band as guitar player John, bass player Carl, and Tony, the singer. So that came together in 2007 as Blood Feast. So it was Adam and Kevin, the two original guys from Blood Feast. That only lasted for a few shows. I actually went to like one or two of those shows to nice. Hang out with Adam and stuff. And then it kind of fell apart, I guess. And then we got the offer. Well, he got the offer to go to Germany to this Headbangers Open Air in 2010. And I said, dude, I'm going to be the bass player in Blood Feast now. You know, it's still that simple. You know, and about a day or two later, he said, yeah, you're in. So it was me, Adam, Kevin, John, the guitar player, and Tony. And we left the bass player, this guy Carl, whatever. He played like 2 or 3 shows, I think. So it wasn't even like, you know. And that was Blood Feast to start in 2010.
Nice.
So that kind of, and we still had the With That End thing going on, and that kind of fell away for a little while. And then Adam Killfor, the drummer, like we hadn't seen him for a while. But then it was like just Blood Feast. So we kept moving down. We did the Headbangers Open Air. We did some local stuff. And I think we went to the Headbangers Open Air twice. And we got to do some decent kind of stuff, decent shows like around. But 2014, Kevin and John, we kind of moved away from them. And we got CJ. And CJ brought in Joe Moore, who unfortunately right now is sick and he's not doing too well. But yeah, because we brought Adam back in 2017. Adam Killfor came back in 2017 but it was Joe wasn't sick at that point. He's sick now, but you know, but we had to change up too, you know, for various reasons, you know. Gotcha. But so that was the lineup up until just, you know, when we had, you know, Chris leave.
Okay.
So yeah. So right now, like I said, Gary's coming in, so it's a new kind of restart for us, you know, kind of thing. So
nice.
But yeah. So you know, sounds confusing. I know.
It's exciting. It's a cool story. It's great.
Yeah. We're moving along. That's the thing. You know, I mean, we just keep going. I guess if we get out of bed in the morning, we're all good, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, I keep saying I got to just stay alive for a few more months because we got the Maryland death threat. So but
I was curious. Like, let's maybe go in the way back machine. And how did you originally get started in music? What was the, you know, music, bass playing? Like, did you come from a musical family? How did you originally start playing?
You know, that's the funny thing. You know, like any kid back in the, I was 10 years old in 1975. Okay. Well, 9 going on 10. Like my birthday's in August. So, you know, my birthday's always late in the year. So, you know, but, you know, like any other kid, you know, I was the oldest one in my family. So I got a brother and a sister. I got one brother who's like 18 months younger than me, and my sister's like 8 years younger than me.
Oh, okay.
So I never had any like older brothers or cousins or, you know, or any other brothers and sisters to get me into music. So I had to kind of do that myself. So, you know, 9 to 10-year-old kid and hanging out with the kids in the neighborhood, you start seeing things about this rock music and this stuff. And of course, in 1975, who's the most prevalent rock band in the world at that point?
Oh yeah.
You know, Kiss.
Yeah.
You know, so everybody sees the fire and the blood and the makeup and the costumes, and we're like, oh, you know, like holy, you know, what's going on here, right? Yeah. So of course that's what's that's what catches your eye, grabs your attention, and you're 9 or 10 years old, you know, at that point. For me personally. And it's funny because I remember like going to my friend's house next door, and his older sister had like Led Zeppelin too. Oh. And they're like, yeah, listen to this. And, like we put that on, and kind of like, and we wouldn't go all the way in her room, but we would use her record player. So we'd like lay in the hallway outside her room, and like, you know, on the floor like this, and listen to the music and go. Nice. So Led Zeppelin was one of the first bands I ever heard, you know, like as far as, so my friends kind of, you know, me and my friends, we kind of got, you know, hooked up to that stuff. And I remember hearing, you know, what album, that a Whole Lot of Love's on that record, I think, right? You know, Black Dog, I think. I'm not sure exactly.
A Whole Lot of Love is on that one.
Yeah, I remember that. So, you know, and I was like, oh, wow, scary. Because my father listened to, like, my father was older, you know, he wasn't like a hippie guy. He was but in 1975, my father was like in his late 30s at that point, you know. So okay. My mother could have been a hippie girl, but she was a Catholic schoolgirl from Brooklyn. So, you know, that wasn't right. But, you know, like I said, if I went to the original Woodstock, I would have been 4 years old. So if I had hippie parents, I would have been, you know, like that. But right. Like I said, I didn't have anybody really turn me on to music, so I had to find my way. And I remember going, oh, I got to have Kiss. I got to have those records. Like the next birthday I begged my mother for Love Gun and Kiss Alive. So she bought that for my birthday, I guess. My 10 or 11 or 12th birthday, I forget. And then I moved on to bands like UFO, you know. Cool. For some reason, Black Sabbath was always a constant. It wasn't like, oh, I got into Black Sabbath at this point. It was just like, I'd already known the Black Sabbath because they were scary and evil, and, you know, so that was always there. But there was bands I concentrated on that, you know, like UFO piqued my interest, and I loved the bass player in UFO. Pete Way was like one of my heroes. Pete Way is amazing. Because I always like look. I go Steve Harris, Geezer Butler, and Cliff Burton are my big heroes, because when I first started playing the bass, that's when either they were there or they were coming up. You know, when I first heard them but then I'm going, man, I never gave Pete Way enough credit, because that's the kind of style I play. I'm kind of like a Pete Way kind of guy.
Yeah, yeah, you are. But
you know what? It was more like, for me, it's like my mother wasn't buying me a drum set. That wasn't happening. So I wanted to be a drummer. Who didn't want to be a drummer? You know, 10 years old, you would have beat on stuff. And I always thought guitar would be too complicated. You know, there's too many strings. So I just kind of gravitated towards the bass, you know, because it was in between the two instruments that, you know. And look, I got some good fingers, so I think I got some long fingers. I guess they were meant for playing bass. But as far as I know, nobody in either side of my family played an instrument, as far as I know. My father loved music, and I know he was interested in taking guitar lessons when he was younger. And actually, I ended up with this crappy acoustic guitar that he had, which I still have, actually. I still have it. Cool. I still have it.
Nice.
And I used to mess around on that, but I used to pretend I'm playing bass. And the thing was, I remember when I was, I think I was 14. There was a double feature at the movie. It was The Kids Are All Right with The Who, was that documentary.
Yeah.
And Rock and Roll High School, the Ramones. That was a double feature. So like 5 hours of rock and roll. And it was like, I don't think the first time I ever was like in a rock kind of setting, you know, and there's all kids there, you know, 15, 16, 17, smoking pot. I'm like, oh my God, they're smoking pot. I'm like 13 or 14 at that point, you know. So I just started high school. I was just going into high school. And I remember watching, the first thing you see on the Kids Are All Right movie is the Who doing My Generation on like the Smothers Brothers show.
Yeah.
And they got Entwistle, you know, with the bass line. Yeah. And I was like,
genius.
And I remember watching and going, that's how you're supposed to play bass, with your hands. And I was like, holy shit, that's awesome. And I just kind of gravitated towards that. And I was, you know, the rhythm thing, I think, was more my thing. I'm not really a soloist kind of guy.
Right.
And it's funny because a kid I knew down the block from me, his father had an old bass in his garage. And I used to hang out with the kid, and we, you know, hang out in his house and stuff. And I said, hey, what's in that case? You know, and I opened up, and it was an old bass guitar. And that thing must be worth like tons of money right now. I can't even remember what it was. but it was like, really old bass. And I remember like I'd go to his house and I'd mess around on it. And I go, oh, this is how you do this thing. And I'm going, oh wow, I can do this. That's not bad. And I think I can handle this kind of thing. And I think like a year or two later, I started taking lessons. I went to a music store down the block from my house, Jimmy Fab Music. I remember that. That's where I met my friend, my first drummer I ever played with.
Oh, wow.
And that was, and my teacher was like a hippie guy, eating figs and playing guitar, and he just showed me how to. And I picked up not on the theory, like the heavy theory stuff, but like, we wrote like notes down on like the 5-staff thing. And I was like, I kind of, was able to interpret that. So I go, all right, I got some sort of musical talent, so I don't, I think even as a kid, I think, if you didn't think you would know anything about it, I think you just sort of said, yeah, maybe I should just, not try this.
Right.
But I didn't practice as much as I should have. But it worked for me and I knew how to do it. And when I got to start playing with people, I was like, okay, I'm doing this. So not bad.
Yeah.
That was me. It was kind of like, it was more like just me falling into it, but I wanted to do it, and it just kind of, like they say, most guys, oh, if you play guitar, you get laid and you meet girls. And I was like, yeah, whatever, man. I just wanted to play. I just wanted to make music, And the thing is, it took me a long time to find the band because I live on an island.
Right.
And Staten Island is like the refugees from the late '60s of people, leaving Queens and Brooklyn, New York for various reasons. And Staten Island was more of a suburban kind of area. It's still part of New York City.
Yeah.
But it's its own little thing. And but it's still part of the city, but it's its own little suburban area. So, and I grew up with woods behind my house, and there were no deer here yet, but now we have deer. We have like 800 deer like running around Staten Island because they swim in from New Jersey.
Oh wow!
But we had woods, we had little streams and stuff, and it's still pretty wooded. It's still pretty not rural. It used to be a little rural. Now it's very suburban. Now they built up on it, but. We're the smallest borough, but yeah, that was the thing. There were a lot of bands on the island. There were a lot of people that played. There was a lot of great players came from Staten Island. AJ Perro, the drummer for Twisted Sister, who's a good friend of mine.
Oh yeah, nice.
Yeah, I knew AJ since the early '90s. When I came home from California, I was in California for 3 years. See, that was another thing. 22, 23, 24, 25. I lived in Hollywood, but it was almost 3 years. I went out there like 22 and a half. I came home when I was 25.
Okay.
And then New York was, robust with music. It was just overflowing. And then I got a job in '91 working on the Lower East Side of Manhattan.
Mm.
I worked it was like a city job. I worked for the Department of Housing Preservation Development. But I had friends who worked a block away for TVT Records. And then one of my friends started working for Roadrunner Records.
Oh, cool.
So, I got into that whole scene too. I got to hang out at the parties and, go to the shows and, and hanging out with the guys from, Typo Negative and Biohazard and Sepultura and, all those bands back in the '90s. I got to hang out with my friend who worked at the record label. And then I got into the merchandise part of it. I was doing that stuff too. So, but yeah, man. Yeah, it was just kind of just made sure I kept myself immersed in the music thing one way or another,
Yeah, that's cool. That's really
but
cool.
I'm a confident player. I could, make some noise. I know what I'm doing.
I would say you're more than confident. And especially, like when you guys, I mean, I've never actually seen the band live, but I've seen a lot of footage of Blood Feast live, and you guys are tight. I mean, it's cool because you're thrash metal, you're extreme metal, you're really heavy, but at the same time, you guys play off of each other really well. And I'd say, bass and drums, you and Adam you really tight. Like when you listen to it, it's tight music. But what did I think? And we talked about this before the interview. What's also entertaining about, it's you guys are professionals, you're very tight, but at the same time, you like to kind of fuck around on stage with the other band members when you play live.
It's just having fun with the whole thing, it's like, you see bands up there that, look how many hundreds of bands we've seen. I'm sure you've done the same. And, you kind of see some of these bands and these guys are just, hey man, I'm, I'm amazing. I'm an amazing player, and I know people like that. And hey, listen, I give credit where it's due, but sometimes, some people just take it way too seriously. And I've always said this. Thing of like, when you're on stage and you're kind of giving off a certain vibe on what you're doing, like, music goes beyond like being a great player or playing a perfect scale, or, it's about connecting with people too. I mean, it sounds kind of corny. I know it sounds kind of, cheesy, but it's about making a connection with people. And, so when you're on the stage, you're a musician, so you still want to be that guy on the stage. You want to have that kind of like, presence. And I don't say, but you want to be with the people who are there to see you play. They pay money to see you, give them a show, give them fun. Make sure they're having fun with what you're doing.
Yeah.
So when I'm up there and I'm having a good time, like I said, me and Chris are like kind of bumping each other, push each other, and because it's just a lot of fun, and you can see it on their faces in the audience. They're like laughing, and, giggling. They're having a good time with it. They're having a good time watching us have a good time.
Yeah.
And I've been to, like I said, I've been seeing my first show that I saw. My first big show was Judas Priest.
Oh, cool.
Point of Entry tour, 1981. They played at the Dr. Pepper Music Festival, and it was a stage that they had on the west side of Manhattan, right near the Intrepid aircraft carrier.
Okay, cool.
The aircraft carrier from where, on the west side of Manhattan. And I remember it was my first show, and I went with my buddy Joe, who's the drummer, the first drummer I ever played with. And I was 15, going on 16. And his brother, his older brother, Sandy, he's 5 years older than me. And I remember we went to see that show, and it was outside. He was supposed to get tickets for the Maiden Priest show. Maiden and Priest was playing at the Palladium, and we were supposed to go to that show. Man, at 15 years old, if I would have seen that show, my head would have exploded. But we went to see Priest. They played by themselves outside, and that was my first show. And I was like, man, I was so just psyched and so excited to see that, and I think we even smoked pot. But yeah, man, it was something, and I like New York was so alive with music, at that point in the 80s and 90s, and it was a great place. I mean, not so much now, I would say, because everything's kind of weird now.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I was lucky. Yeah. I always say I was pretty lucky to be born when I was, because of all the music that had come up when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But we have a great time. So when I'm having a good time, I'm not gonna not show it or not have a good time. But people being uptight, man. Like I said, music is a thing. It's of course it's got certain rules, I guess, you gotta go by, and you want to play the music right. You don't want to be like a drunken fool up there. I've seen that too. That's not fun to watch. But or whatever. Even just a bad show. But so if you're having fun and you want to have fun, and as long as you're doing what you need to do and nobody's getting hurt, hey, stay with it. Go with it. And thank you for that, because Adam, the drummer, he's a real kind of, he's tight and he's great. He's also very experimental. So I like kind of working off of him. It's like, bass player and drummer are supposed to play off each other, or work together with each other. But sometimes he just likes to kind of let himself loose, which is great, because it just works so much for the band. It makes the band look that much more kind of, professional and busy, it's like we got wow, look what they're doing, kind of thing. So
Right.
But thank you for that. It's cool that, when people kind of let us know that. So, because here's the perfect thing. I loved it. This was great. The last show we just did in San Diego, we did this metal swap meet. And you know who Gene Hogan is, obviously.
Oh yeah, amazing.
Yeah, so he lives in San Diego. So this is in October. I think it's October 16th, this past October, out in San Diego, and it was great. And of course, we had to wear our masks on the flight and all that stuff. But then I go to eat something, they're asking us to wear our masks. like the proof of vaccination.
Right.
I fly all the way out to California. Nobody bothers me. I go to eat like at a fast food restaurant. They're asking me about the proof of vaccination. Anyway, so that show, and I was kind of like, oh man, this is the first one without Chris. Oh my, I'm just kind of worried just because now we're a 4-piece. It's not the same band it was. And this is the first band, this is the first show we're doing without 5-piece. And we get there, the guy gets us at the airport. What's it? The guy was Caton from Hyrax was there DJing.
Oh, cool! I love Caton.
We met Caton in Japan. We played with Hyrax, and that was a true thrash fest in Japan.
Oh, cool!
So we got to be friendly with him there, and the rest of the band, I'm like pals with the guitar player, like me and Lance are like this. But so we get there. So Caton's there. We're talking to Caton. What's the name of that band? Night Demon. You know who's the bass player? I forget his name.
I can't think of his name either.
They had a table next to ours. I'm like, hey, dude. And he's like, hey, we got to take a picture together because my friend Steffi. Oh, dude, I know Steffi. That's the girl I know from that does the thing in Germany. The Headbangers Open Air. She helped us in the Shoot Thrash Fest. And I forget his name. I feel so bad now. And we're like, yeah, dude, what's up? Good to meet you. You know, and I fucking get his name. God damn it. I like that. I'm done. We take a picture with that. And so, like, I'm walking around, and it's 86 degrees. It's beautiful out. Derek Riggs is there. He's got a table. Derek Riggs, the Iron Maiden artist.
Yeah, cool.
And they're going, dude, you know Derek Riggs is like, oh no, I knew he was going to be there. But then like my guitar player Adam goes, dude, Derek Riggs is running around the corner. I just hung out. I was like, dude. I ran around. He had a book, and I said, how much is the book?
Yeah.
$85. Here's my money.
Yep. Take my money.
He does a sign. He signs the book for me. Like, you know, he does like a custom picture.
Oh,
you know,
cool.
Tom, all the best, Derek Riggs. I was like, awesome. So I got to meet him. I'm like, dude, you're the reason I picked up the first time I made now. You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, totally.
He was there. And then I'm like, I'm hanging out. I'm walking around. Like I said, it's beautiful, 86 degrees to San Diego. It's like, you can't get any perfect. And also, I see this guy, and I'm going, is that Gene Hogan? You know? And he's walking in, and I see him reach in his pocket. He pays to get in and everything. Because it was like in this like industrial park. Like, you know, there was all these businesses, you know, like there was a karate dojo, there was a bunch of breweries, you know, there was some restaurants, and they had like 85 vendors selling, you know, wristbands and, you know, music and t-shirts and, you know, all that stuff. It was a great fucking thing. They had the stage set up. And so I go, that's Gene Hogan. And then one of the guys, I'm with one of the guys that's running, you know, that's working for the event, goes, hey, Gene. I go, it's Gene Hogan. So, you know, he was a big guy. He lost a lot of weight. He looks great. You know, he's like, he's a tall guy, too. So
yeah, really
I'm
tall.
like, hey, man, good to meet you. And he's, hey, look, it's Tom from Blood Feast. He goes, hey, man, how you doing? I said, wow. I said, at least he knows, like, the name Blood Feast, I guess. You know, so we got to meet him. And it's funny because later in the set, Adam's always breaking something. No, not really, but his pedal broke or something. You know, his bass drum pedal broke. And who's back there trying to help? Gene Hogan.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. But that set went amazing. You know, it went really well, you know. And it's funny because I'm on the stage, I'm packing my stuff up. The guys who, like, you know, work in the stage doing the sound and stuff, hey man, it sounded great. What a great set. I'm like, thank you, bro. Thank you so much. Thank you for telling me that, you know. This kid walks up, 11 years old, maybe. He's got a Blood Feast shirt, this Blood Feast shirt. Walks up, he goes, you guys were so great. And I'm like, all right. It was worth it, you know.
Yeah,
like when you got an 11-year-old come kind of running up to you. I mean, these days especially, because you know, I think kids with the internet and all the access they have to media, you know, they're kind of jaded. I think these kids.
Yeah.
These days, a lot of ways. Not to say anything bad. I'm just saying kids are so jaded because they're bombarded with so much information and so much, you know, art and work and, you know, all that. But when an 11-year-old kid comes up and tell you how great you are, I'm like, all right, man. We're doing something good here. So yeah, that felt good. So
yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, I love hearing stories like that. And it's cool when, like, somebody, especially that young, is, you know, into, you know, these bands that, you know, I loved as a kid too. So it's cool when it kind of comes full circle, and you've got the youth of America, young kids that are really, you know, thrashing out on, you know, 80s thrash metal. Like,
and they're there. They are
great.
They're there.
It's great. Yeah, I love it.
You know, it's funny. I meet I meet a lot of people. I got close to 5,000 friends on Facebook, obviously, because of the band. Yeah. I'm still surprised. I'm like, really? Jesus, and I'm always getting cool comments on stuff, and I'm putting stupid pictures of myself up, and I do like my thing. I call it because I've been the merch thing too. I've done that over the years, and I got a crazy amount of T-shirts from over the years. Something like you would walk into my house and go, "There's something wrong with this guy," because I have so many T-shirts. I have so much, because between working for the merch company and just collecting them over the year, and I'm gone. Oh man, I gotta sell some of this stuff, but I always do a thing like I'll go in my car, I'll put on the sunglasses and put a T-shirt on, and I'll take a picture, and I'll be like, I go on the sunglasses T-shirt in the car series, like that. I get like, dude, why don't you smile? I go, no, there's no smiling on the T-shirt, sunglasses in the car series, like that kind of thing. So, but I just try to keep the whole thing alive, and I should have a good battle vest, man. But I'm just, I got some great patches too. I just haven't had the chance to get, and I can't sew worth the shit. So
I'm the same way.
I know that's a thing. Like, you got to sew your own battle vest, and I got great patches that I found in Japan, and nice. There's actually a guy that does all the big festivals all over the world. He'll travel, and I know I don't know if it's his girlfriend or his wife. I forget, but we became friends on Facebook, and and I'm always keeping up on what they got as far as the patch things go, and and we got some cool patches ourselves. So we do okay with our merch too. People
oh yeah.
And my guitar player will come in because he kind of handles the merch too. CJ will come in and he goes, "All right, we got 25 vinyl to sign." I go, "Really?" He goes, "Yeah, get started." So here we are in the studio, signing vinyls.
Nice.
I'm like, this is cool, man. At least kind of getting to play the whole rock star thing, and we have a good time with it, man. And I always try to be as humble as I can with people, because I know they're there because they love the music, and they honestly want to just kind of talk to you and just kind of, just have a cool conversation, and people just want to be friendly with you because they enjoy the music. So I do my hardest to be cool with people,
Nice.
I got a million stories about that, just how cool people just come up to me and how excited they are to meet me, and I'm kind of like, whoa, calm down. I'm just a jerk off from Staten Island, New York. All right, calm down there, But we have a good time with it, and like I said, Adam is the brainchild. He's the guy. He's the one who writes the music, so it's all him. But we all get our little gig. We all get our little piece of the pie as far as attention goes and stuff like that.
Yeah. Nice.
But we just have fun with it, because once you're not having fun with it, there's no reason to do it.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think like anything else in life, if things get a little weird and stuff, then you got to get rid of that bad feeling stuff, so. But bringing Gary in, because it's Gary, it's not like he's foreign to it. He hadn't done it for so long, since 1999. That was the last time. And I told you, I was at that show, but I missed them. I think I was hanging out with Sepultura, smoking weed on their bus or something. Because my friend worked at, like I said, he worked at Roadrunner Records. So we were hanging out with everybody, going on this bus, hanging out backstage here, doing this thing, So that was, Jesus, that's almost 30 years ago, right?
Yeah.
25 years ago, right? 1999, right? I mean, yeah, right?
That's insane.
So, yeah. So it's just, that was the March Metal Meltdown, Asbury Park, New Jersey. That's what that was. And they played that, and they did that that was the last reunion thing, and then they just all walked away from each other. That was it.
Huh.
And then 4 years later, I met Adam.
Yeah.
And Adam, and I started, 2002. I started playing with those guys. So
nice.
But yeah,
it's cool.
What else?
Man, I did want to ask you about Dumoth. Are you still doing that? Is that still happening? Your band Dumoth?
You know what? I love that thing. That was great. But you know what? It's another problem. It's a geography thing.
Yeah. Especially during a pandemic.
I think half the problem with the whole thing with Chris was that it was geography. He lives in Philadelphia. It's a 2-hour trip for him. We couldn't expect him to come up twice a week for rehearsal. Yeah. Shit, my drive, which is 30 miles each way, that's hard enough for me. you know, and I'm in northern New Jersey. You got to imagine what the kind of driving I got to go through with this insane maniacs that live in this state. But Dumalt was with a friend of mine, Daryl Creel, the guitar player. Right now he's playing in a band called Abominog.
Oh yeah.
Have you heard of him?
Yeah, I have heard of him.
Get back, and Daryl's playing guitar. Daryl is a recent friend. I know Daryl for a while now. I know him it's got to be over 7-8 years now, maybe longer. But he's like, hey Tom, because I got this thing going on. You want to do it with me? And I said, oh dude, I love that dirgy shit. I love that slow kind of, what do you call it? Sludgy kind of what's the proper term for that?
Like doom metal or
doom metal,
rock
yeah,
or
like
whatever.
doom. Yeah, he comes up with some great riffs, but basically I would meet him down in Philadelphia. Because Philadelphia, for me, I'm actually a little closer to the New Jersey Turnpike than, say, Adam is, because they live in inland New Jersey. I'm over near, I'm on the shore. I'm on Staten Island. So the New Jersey Turnpike's right there. So basically, I drive over the Gothos Bridge, and I'm on the New Jersey Turnpike. I could be in Philadelphia in like an hour and a half.
Oh, not bad.
If I drive fast enough, maybe an hour and 20. Like, it's just a matter of the traffic and stuff. So I'm like, yeah, dude, let's do this. So he had a drummer, and we would meet, and he sent me the songs on like some emails, and then he would send me like, just like a rough kind of what do you call that? Like not written music, when you write the notes, the
like
number.
tablature?
The tablature, yeah, exactly. So he kind of gave me like a rough tablature kind of thing or something. And one song was like 12 minutes long. The other song was like 10 minutes. And I loved it because the riffs were great. And then I was tuning down. The tuning was ridiculous. It was like I was using my Gibson Explorer bass from 1984 because it's got a really long neck. But the neck is like a banana, man. It just keeps going out on me, keeps curving on me. But I used it a few times, and then I had my Fender Jazz. But I had to tune down. I needed extra heavy strings because we would tune down. And it's weird. I don't know if like the three highest strings, the A, D, and G strings, were tuned down a whole step.
Oh.
And the E string was tuned down a step and a half.
Wow.
So the E string was now an A sharp. So it was A sharp, F, A sharp, D sharp. So when I did a chord, I had to do it on the 5th fret instead of the 7th fret, so the E would be in with the rest of the notes. It's kind of hard to explain if you're not a musician, but ridiculously low, and you can't just use regular strings. You got to get some heavy strings, like the low string has to be like a 115. I usually use a 105.
Oh, okay.
So it's like a medium light kind of thing, 105, 85, as you go up higher to the strings. So finding those strings were ridiculous to begin with. I like go to Forget Guitar Center or I think I actually found them at Sam Ash eventually. But yeah, and we recorded a couple. Like we did actually I didn't ever record it. Daryl would record it a rough recording on like an 8-track player in his house, and then we had this guy Sonny do the vocals for it. And Sonny was more like a kind of Dio kind of singer. It wasn't like we weren't going to use like death metal vocals or anything like that.
Right? Yeah.
And so it was the 4-piece, but between trying to get there every week or every other week, whatever we were going to do, and then like the drummer, he would flake out. I actually used my drummer from Blood Feast, Joe Moore, and Joe was we went and did it, but it was such a long day just getting there.
Right. Yeah.
So unfortunately, that band just fell to the wayside because of geography, and just if we would lived closer to each other, maybe me and Daryl could have kept something going. But we're still good friends, and we get to see each other, we get to hang out and stuff. But I would love to try to do it again. But right now we're just kind of he's doing what he's doing, and because he lives like an hour or two away from Philadelphia too. He lives in like inland Pennsylvania. He lives in like I forget even the name of it. He lives in Harrisburg.
Oh, okay.
You know, Pennsylvania, which is, you know, that's about 3 hours from here.
Yeah.
So yeah. So unfortunately, Dumo kind of just became a victim of geography, and just we couldn't kind of keep it going. But the stuff that he wrote, I thought was brilliant, man. I loved it. I really did. I had a good time with it. You know.
Cool.
And it's funny. We went to this studio, and it was like South Philadelphia, and oh my God, it was like one of the worst neighborhoods. And it was in the middle of the winter. Like there's no heat. There's no heat in the building. It's like it was like an old like. I don't even know what type of industrial kind of thing that went on there, but it was like 6 or 7 floors, and they just sectioned off all these little rooms, you know, and they just put like combo amplifiers in there and a drum set and a PA, and that's it. That was your rehearsal space. But it was the biggest studio in Philadelphia, because it had so many rooms, you know. But then we get there and it's like 20 degrees in the room. I'm like, there's no heat.
Yeah.
It's like, just do what you're doing, bro. You know, do what you got to do. Keep your jacket on. You know.
Oh man, your fingers trying to play a bass in that kind of cold. Oh my God.
Yeah. You know, I'm wearing like a winter jacket. I'm like, hey, this is kind of cool. It's fun, and I don't remember ever going there in the summertime because we only did it for a few months. But I can imagine in the summertime it was probably like so hot. You know?
Oh, just sweltering. Yeah, that humidity.
There was no heat in the rooms because it was just like it was such a huge building that they just plywood kind of, you know, and sheetrock like little rooms, you know, and stuff. They had like a little common area to hang out, smoke cigarettes and stuff, and you know, with vending machines. But yeah, that was it. They had like a elevator, like a industrial kind of you know, what do they call them, elevators?
Like a freight elevator? Or...
Yeah, freight elevator. Yeah, so you could bring your stuff up on that, you know. But yeah, it was kind of like, it was interesting. Unfortunately, that band didn't last long, but yeah, you know, maybe one day down the line we could get back together again.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I enjoyed that. Like that band. You know, it's
fun. Well, I don't want to keep you all day, but I do have one last question for you. So, you know, with my page, Brews and Tunes, I pair craft beer with metal. So, you know, say it's a Friday, and I don't know if you're a beer drinker still, but so say it's a Friday night. Oh, cool. So Friday night, Saturday night, you know, you're just chilling out. What album do you spin, and what beer are you drinking?
All right. I don't know how cool I am with this. Usually when I go out now, I go out to eat something. I quit smoking cigarettes like last May. Okay. So my thing now is to go out and eat something. So, you know, like I love the wheat beers. You know, cool. Put a lemon in it, put an orange in it. I'm down with that. You know, cool. You know. Cool. But yeah, what is it? What is that one beer? Blue Moon. I like the Blue Moon. Nice. I don't know how cool or uncool that is, but that's what cool. I usually think. But yeah, if I go out and I have a beer, if it's Budweiser, I'll drink that. But I'm not exactly a big craft beer or specialty beer guy. But I know there's also the IPA stuff, and I got friends who are like that. Oh yeah, I'm gonna have this IPA thing, blah 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 blah. It's got, you know, it's got honey and it's got this and that in it. I'm like, yeah, whatever, man. Let's just have a couple of beers.
Yeah.
You know? But when I go out, I usually have a couple of beers, and you know, it's yeah, just very social for me. I'm not a huge drinker either, but you know, but I do it. I have fun. Plus, I drive everywhere, man. I got to be careful about that too.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But yeah, but usually I like the wheat beers and stuff, and it's usually when we go away to do shows like in Germany and Japan. That's when I really get my drink on because I know I don't have to go anywhere. I don't have to drive anywhere.
Right. Yeah.
You know, I guess somebody will get me home. You know, go back to my hotel room. You know, but yeah, the last time I really went at it was in Japan.
Oh, okay, cool.
There was a tiny little bar right near our hotel. Literally, this building, it was a building on its own. It's a tiny little building. It held like 15 people.
Oh, wow.
You had the bar and seats around the bar, and that's it. Like,
nice.
I don't even think there was room for anybody to stand in the bar. You get a seat, and I remember we drank the place dry. And I remember because Paul from At War, the lead singer, bass player, came in. I said, bro, what's up? And he was sitting like across from me, but on the other side. And I'm like, and cheering him, and I'm just drinking, and I was getting fucking smashed. I was getting wasted. Then somebody's like, hey, we're gonna go do karaoke, and I'm like, all right, whatever. And we got up and walked down the block, and I walked across the street. I go, where'd these guys go? I said, let me just get out of it. But I just went back to my hotel and went to sleep. But nice. Yeah, that was the last time I got like really drunk. Was like, I was hanging out in Japan. Yeah. Nice. But we had a good time with it. I can't even remember what kind of beer I was drinking. I was just drinking some, Japanese, I don't know, Sapporo or, whatever it was.
Nice.
But yeah, that's my thing usually. I'm usually like a wheat beer guy. I like the whole German. Franziskaner. I don't even know if that exists anymore. Because like we have a local German place called Killfor here in Staten Island. And I'm like, yeah, let me get a Franziskaner. Like, no, we don't serve that anymore. This is the equal one to it. I don't even have to try to learn this German word now. Just,
right. Nice.
But yeah, so I'm still a beer drinker. Yeah, I'll still have a couple beers here.
Very cool. Well, Tom, this has been a pleasure. This has been great chatting with you. This has been really fun. I'm really excited for the new album whenever that comes out, hopefully in the not too distant future. And then of course you guys have some killer shows lined up. I wish I lived close by so I could attend, especially the Maryland Death Fest. That sounds
that's going to be a big one for us.
Yeah,
we're real happy.
Really cool.
Now that we have Gary in tow, we're like, because this is going to kind of go historic. I think it's going to really kind of, because like if there's things pop as we're speaking right now, I got things popping up on Facebook.
Cool.
Gary, are you kidding me? Holy shit, Gary's singing. I'm like,
yeah, that's
all right, man. Let's go. Let's do this.
Yeah.